GC here, and we're back for a movie review. Well, clearly this is a different background because of special occasions, but movie review. Warcraft. And before we begin, we have a special guest, aka the Intern.
What?
Intern!
Ah!
Anyway, so Warcraft. So it's directed by Duncan Jones, the guy that brought us Moon and Source Code stars. A relatively new cast, but we know some people, or you might. Dominic Cooper, Paula Patton, Daniel Wu, Travis Fimmel, Ben Foster, and everyone else, check down below. So, Intern, what is this film about?
So you know how after the World of Eternity got destroyed, this giant world got split into a few different continents, and then there's this place called Azeroth, and so the humans were living there, and then out of nowhere, these orcs coming from Draenor cross the Dark Portal and decide to attack the humans' homeland, and they're trying to take over, and then out of nowhere, you realize that all these horde of orcs, and led by a giant warlock commander trying to take over the world, and so the humans are trying to fight back.
Oh, okay. Well, so clearly this guy is a Warcraft encyclopedia. What have you done? You read all the books and stuff, I guess?
Yeah, play all the games, all the wiki
He read
posts.
all the wiki posts. So basically for us non-fans, basically this film is about orcs fighting humans, and that's basically the entire film. So what did I think? First off, I'm excited and happy that Warcraft, the IP, has finally existed, because there was a lot of talk about it coming to become a movie, and it took forever, and then everyone's like doubting it's gonna happen, or what the scale was gonna be like, and it was all crazy and stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm happy this movie exists in some sense, because I mean, it brings the Warcraft world to the front of international sort of audiences, and the very fact that we finally have orcs that are friendly. I mean, Lord of the Rings sort of screwed their race over by casting them as evil things, and orcs you would think evils, but here, finally, Warcraft, orcs could be good people. And as a fanboy, how do you feel about this movie?
Well, as a fanboy, of course, it's a dream come true. Finally, there's actually the movie that we always were toting about having been playing the game for so long. But, of course, after you know the story so well, and you know all the backstory about the backstories, then you realize it was quite a disappointment, actually, because they left a lot of backstories untouched. Like, they explained why they came to attack, but they didn't really tell about why their homeworld was destroyed. They didn't talk about where the foul energy is coming from, like why is there foul energy, and all that. It was just a lot of potential, but they left untouched.
For me, I played Warcraft 3 on and off, played WoW till level 14, and I'm more of a StarCraft fan than Warcraft. But I think the biggest gripe for me is that Blizzard has been known for their amazing cutscenes created by Blur Studios, and I felt that it didn't do that here. Like, there were some moments where it was really awesome, like that close-up of the main character. So in the very beginning, that shot's amazing. It doesn't look CGI, it looks like it could be real. CGI sort of went back and forth. Sometimes it looks amazing, sometimes it just looks jarringly weird when humans are there. But at the end of the day, I feel like if they just made a Blur Studio film, I think it would have been so much better in terms of just visuals. Your thoughts?
Could have been just an animation. When you play these games and you see all these cutscenes, the cutscenes were way better, and they're way well directed than an actual film here. So.
And then the voice cast is so much better too, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's all over the place. Like, you're happy that it exists, but at the same time, I'm not impressed by it, and I'm not a huge diehard fan, and he is, and he's not impressed by it. So what happened? It's like Duncan Jones, I mean, like I said, he directed Moon and Source Code, which were relatively lower budget movies compared to this thing. And I feel like that's the sort of the Hollywood trend nowadays, is that we need a cast, or we need to have a director that did one or two like amazing films on a low budget, and then give them this huge bundle of money and go like, here, make us more money. But I feel like it's a huge risk. I mean, right now, if you look at the box office for the States, it's not doing well at all. But luckily for them, it's doing crazy in China. So
yeah. Speaking of that, though, I realized they left a lot of the storytelling on the whole Burning Legion, or just demons and all the powers that were behind this whole thing. And then when you think about it, right, it's kind of a marketing ploy where they can't really do it in China, so they have to re-engineer the whole story just so they can fit in the Chinese market.
That's true. If you don't know, China markets has a code sort of thing for stories. Like, they have bad people always have to die, government officials that are corrupted always have to go to jail or something. Like, there can never be an open-ended, like, oh no, did the bad guy leave, or did he survive, or whatever. There can't be demonic presence in their films. Vampires are kind of iffy. Ghosts is still kind of iffy, but it's they try to ground it, but it's really weird because, you know, the Chinese culture has a lot of that stuff within it, but yet the government's like, we can't have these in our films. So as a non-fan watching this, I felt that the whole, oh my goodness, this movie exists feeling existed 3/4 of the way. I felt like I was a lot more forgiving than you were, as in, great, this is doing its thing, but it was just, when you really think about it, there's a lot of plot holes, or like motivations aren't done really well, and you just don't care about anybody. When that wizard dude died, I was like, okay, so what's next? Or his son, I was like, okay, what's next? It was just kind of like, like things are happening on the screen, but you're not committed to it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel could have been done better, that there was trying to be a lot of building moments to build that emotional attachment, but then it wasn't done well. Like, you don't really feel for the main character when these trauma happens, and then you're just so focused about the fighting and all the building up, then you don't really get to know these characters and their inner emotions, or even just like where they're coming from. Why are they so bitter about things, or why are they trying to be so patriotic and all that?
So according to the lore, this is happening around 50 years before Warcraft 1.
It's about like at least 20 years.
20
really.
years.
Like, it's right before the humans and orcs starts having this giant war.
So do you think they would have done better if they just adapted Warcraft 1 instead, like straight off the bat?
Yeah, should have gone straight up Warcraft 1 and then just go with the whole story. Then you can appease both the people who have the nostalgia and then the new moviegoers who don't even know what Warcraft is.
I felt that it was a lot. There was a lot of things that happened, but nothing of substance. Because I felt like they wanted to do the invasion, and then the half-orc, they're working together, and then now they're gonna free their people, so it's like a lot of things happening, and it's just things happening. I sort of wish that they went small scale. Imagine if they ended the film before they started the huge battle, like having small set pieces throughout the film, have that evil wizard that played by Daniel Wu have like maybe underlings that are sort of like bosses, and then you have semi-small battles rather than this epic let's save our people and then let me sacrifice this person and sacrifice that person.
Yeah, and you can't help but to try to compare this movie with Lord of the Rings 2. The whole battle scenes building up to that epic battle, and there was so much more storytelling and so much more building up of action and just suspense and everything in the final battle in Lord of the Rings too. And compared to this, you're expecting this giant battle, but it ends up being a lot of smaller battles and duels that was just disappointing.
That's true, because I mean at the end there's that duel between that dude and the wizard just owned him with magic, and it's not just like pure like let me punch your face in sort of orc brutality sort of thing. End of the day, I don't really know how to feel about it. That's why I'm so iffy about this review. In the sense, I'm happy that it exists, but it's just like, oh, now it exists, and now the world, the general population knows what Warcraft is sort of about, but it's like this crappy representation of this crazy thing that Blizzard has been putting so much life and blood into.
Hopefully the StarCraft movie will be better.
Hopefully. So maybe StarCraft 2 and 3 would probably be already funded, but I seriously swear they just find more writers that can write small-scale stuff and just focus on the characters rather than trying to be, oh, look at us, we're Warcraft, right?
Yeah.
It's a disappointment. I think that's a very good word that you use, because it's just like, you could have done so much more. It would have been an epic thing, but we got that. So yeah, if you have seen Warcraft, leave your comment down below, and he'll get back to you, because if you do the lore stuff, I would not know what to say. But yeah, so yeah, this is the intern's first episode, because I dragged him to watch Warcraft, because he's a walking Warcraft encyclopedia. And I was like, maybe if he likes it, then maybe the general audience will like it even more, but they failed. So yeah, as always, if you have anything to say, leave your comments down below, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And that is it for this movie review for Warcraft. Out!